Hello, and thank you for serving as a mentor at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. Your service as a mentor will lead to so many benefits to the student you are supporting. Numerous studies have identified positive outcomes of mentorship for mentees, including increased skills, such as interpersonal or job-related skills, access to people, information, or resources, psychosocial support such as counseling, role modeling, or encouragement, and greater self-confidence levels. Some mentoring outcomes for students are academic in nature, including greater retention and graduation rates, higher grade point averages, and improved cognitive task performance that allows undergrads to cope with progressively complex learning. However, the most frequently noted benefit for mentees relates to career functions. This includes outcomes such as career satisfaction, motivation, advice, or advancement, as well as employability and job performance. Your service here is incredibly important work, and we are so grateful for your participation as mentors. And while I know your support is altruistic in nature, I'm happy to report that you will also benefit from serving as a mentor. In fact, a comparison of benefits reported by mentors and mentees reveals several benefits that overlap. Both groups reported increased career satisfaction, self-confidence, and interpersonal skill development. Interestingly, as in the case with mentees, career satisfaction is the most commonly cited positive outcome for mentors, particularly when mentors provided role modeling to mentees. Additional benefits that the research indicates are largely limited to mentors include networking or increased collegiality, pride or personal satisfaction, rejuvenation at work, and an increased level of perceived respect from others. It's important to note that these benefits come to mentees and mentors who engage in mentoring effectively. Believe it or not, there can be dysfunctional mentoring relationships if certain pillars are not built into the relationship from the start. To ensure that you and your mentee achieve optimal benefits from this program, we wanted to provide this training so that everyone gets the most out of their time this semester. Let's start with quickly defining mentoring. Mentoring is an experience in which a mentor and mentee develop a reciprocal, personal relationship focused on assisting a mentee toward her or his growth and development. This support is provided through 4 distinct areas: psychosocial and emotional support, goal setting and career development support, academic subject knowledge support, and role modeling provided by the mentor. So what does this mean exactly? What we know is that by adopting certain approaches, attitudes, behaviors, and mindsets, when mentors work with undergraduate students, mentoring is better for everyone. For instance, to establish the pillar of psychosocial support, mentors go out of their way to grow their mentees' self-esteem, sense of perseverance, and relationship building skills. To do this, we spend more time asking questions than talking. We encourage them even as they fail, pointing out their positive learning and growth. We highlight their talents and cheer them on. We notice when they seem discouraged or overwhelmed and provide them resources to find better balance. In essence, we care about them as a whole person, and they feel our support. To establish Pillar 2, we first listen for what the student already knows and recognize what they do not yet understand. Setting and working towards career development goals is a foundational part of mentoring and should be given a good amount of consideration before diving in. Goals should be created by the student, but then it is our job as mentors to ensure that they are SMART goals. SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. Additionally, it is our job as mentors to subtly present mentees with goals they should be moving toward but might be unaware of. Instead of telling them what they don't understand, we provide them ways to confront this information themselves, perhaps by asking them to watch a video that is focused on a particular topic that they need exposure to, or perhaps introducing them to a professional who you know will allow the student to notice a behavior that that person does particularly well that makes them successful, that perhaps the mentee may lack. A very important part of this pillar is helping your mentee develop a career identity by providing attainable yet challenging assignments that will help them better grasp their career fields of interest. Again, mentors must be sure that they are focusing such assignments in the mentee's career fields of interest and not assume that this is an exact fit with the mentor's own career field. It may vary, and mentors will need to adapt. As your mentees are students, helping your mentee recognize the importance of their academic pursuits is a critical pillar. Before you get too deep into the relationship, ask them about the classes that they're taking in school, what they're currently learning, or classes that they are slated to take in future semesters that they are excited about. Wherever possible throughout the mentoring partnership, help them recognize how their academics will set them up for success in both the workforce and as citizens of the world. Finally, mentors should serve as role models to their mentees. This goes above and beyond the general sense of being someone a mentee can emulate in terms of integrity and values, though this too is very helpful. In this sense, role modeling includes certain behaviors which we know help students configure their own behaviors in a positive way. For example, tell stories. Letting them know about your own previous career fumbles, personal triumphs, and academic struggles will not only help your mentee bond with you and build trust, but it also builds their toolbox in terms of how to approach their own decision making. Similarly, let your personality and your emotions out. Mentoring includes a level of friendship, and like any friend, you do not want to hide your true colors. Be yourself and likewise welcome mentees to be 100% themselves. Authenticity is important in mentoring as it creates an inclusive environment. From experience, we know that there are several best practices that effective mentors adopt. Sometimes it is a matter of attitude, being curious, being genuine, and being nurturing. Sometimes it's a matter of actions, promoting an active and interesting experience that consistently ties back to the mentee's development and goals. Sometimes it's purely logistical, like setting regular meeting times and shared ground rules. But all of these practices tie back to providing the 4 pillars of mentoring: psychosocial support, career development support, academic relevance, and role modeling. I want to specifically point out this last item here, challenging with a smile. So much of what occurs in mentoring has to do with learning. Learning can be a smooth experience, but often it is not and requires feedback. When providing feedback, please keep a few things in mind to ensure the feedback sticks. There are a few things I want to discuss on the topic of time. Once you notice a behavior that needs to shift in order for your mentee to reach their goals, take the time to determine if it's a trend or an isolated incident. Let's face it, we all have our off days. In many cases, we know we're off and we just need the space to get back to our normal levels. Yes, incidents that are isolated can be damaging, but it happens to all of us. So while you should have a conversation at some point about such isolated incidents to help your mentee reflect on learning, don't rush in with feedback. Allow them space to self-direct when possible. However, stay observant, and once you see incidents stack up, you can be sure that this is not a one-off situation. There is a skill that is lacking here. The second note about time is once you identify a trend and categorize the skill that's missing, whether it be a lack of competence, commitment, or interpersonal skills, be quick to start the conversation. Don't allow the behavior to become a habit that your mentee thinks is acceptable. The final note on time is to take the time. Trying to toss this into a passing conversation can be damaging. Ask them for a few minutes of time in a private setting to discuss an important topic. As often as possible, find a neutral space. Avoid your office if possible, as it is a physical manifestation of your positional power. Remember, what you want here is a conversation, not a soliloquy, so clear up some time for the both of you to engage. Next, pinpoint the problem. Be specific about the exact behavior that is occurring that needs to be addressed. Bring up when and how the behavior occurred and mention, gently, the consequences that occurred. Be specific about the behavior so the conversation can stay on track and progress towards a solution. Very often, young people do not recognize the impact of their behaviors, attitudes, or habits. If we can remember that this person is likely engaging in a contrary behavior unintentionally and is not aware of the impact they are having, and if we believe that not only can they change, but they will change with the right support, we come from a place of concern rather than a place of frustration. In mentoring, attitude is everything. Be concerned and positive rather than upset and negative. Next, we want to ask authentically. Now this one takes some practice, but I will tell you, when we move from a place of asking instead of telling, we engage others in a way that reinforces our positions as wise mentors, and the relationships we build will be rock solid. When we build a safe zone where mentees know that their voices are heard and that they are not only included but valued, we see great results. So for many reasons, we should be asking more and telling less. But the second word, authentically, is particularly important in the world of mentoring. Being honest, most people think they know the answer to a problem. And as seasoned professionals, we likely are familiar with common solutions to issues that our mentees will face. Here's the thing though, our mentees may have a perspective that makes our possible solutions paltry in comparison, or even null if they share information that makes our solutions off track. When we ask authentically, and by this I mean asking questions that are not directed at an answer that we expect so that we can carry on with the script in our head, not only will our mentee be engaged, but you will grow as well. How do we ask authentic questions? First, be humble. When you come to a mentee as a curious friend versus a curious professional, they will feel the space you have created for their input. Second, ask open-ended questions that you do not know the answers to. When we ask a mentee who consistently runs late for meetings, for instance, is there something holding you back from being at our meetings on time? What's in the way for you? We light the path to dialogue. We already know that your protege may not know the impact of her actions, so provide some perspective. The best way to do so is through a short but poignant story. You can connect the story to their situation. For instance, on Wednesday, you weren't here on time for our meeting with the area manager, so Jamal had to wait on you and lost 15 minutes of planned work time. That equates to $10 of company time wasted, and Jamal had to rush through his work to stay on top of his schedule. I don't think that that's fair. Or it can be a story that you share from your own life, which touches on the mentoring pillar of role modeling. For instance, being late was a problem for me when I first started working, and I wondered 1 year into my career why I wasn't getting the exciting projects or getting to travel to visit national clients. When I finally asked my boss, she was very blunt in saying that she felt that my constant tardiness meant that I wasn't truly committed to the job. She asked me, "Why should I commit to you if you aren't committed to me?" Sharing stories like this helps us be persuasive instead of seeming abrasive. If you've taken these steps, there may be a major issue that shakes loose. For instance, perhaps she's battling depression and it is keeping her awake at night, causing major sleep issues. When issues like this arise, it's important to be ready with campus or community resources so that you can connect her with the right place to get her the help that she needs. Or perhaps she's really into a new TV series and she binges until 1 in the morning. The point is, there is a reason for the behavior. Draw it out and then make a plan together. What can she commit to and what can you adjust in order to help her be successful? Clearly, moving your meeting time from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., even if it's possible to accommodate her Netflix addiction, is not going to promote her career development growth. However, shifting her time to 10 a.m. may provide her the psychosocial support she requires. Together, you can draw out a plan that you both can agree to that will address how to fix the problem. Since you're guiding your mentee, you have goals for her learning at the start of the semester. As often as possible, connect feedback to the goals your mentee has set for themselves. In this way, it makes the learning more meaningful, and they become aware of your efforts to serve as a guide. This will also help them stick to the plan that you've developed. We know from self-directed learning theory that young adults learn most enthusiastically when they're working toward the goals that they've set for themselves. We hope that this training provided you with some helpful insights that you can bring into your mentoring experience. We see you as partners, and we are here for you when you require resources to support your mentee or if you just want to talk. We appreciate your support and thank you for the tremendous work you do as mentors.